And again, today we have Annie from Cyber Senior coming on. So the floor is yours, Annie, for your presentation on 5G technology today.
Thank you. So what I will do first is I will disable you guys to mute so we can hear the session without no further issues. You will be able to mute yourself after. We have a nice dynamic at the end of the slideshow. So I hope that if there is or there are many questions, we can play a little bit with the dynamic I brought for you today, guys. So you can interact more with some of the things we are gonna cover today. So let me pop up my presentation here and we can get ready. So as Alex was mentioning, today we are going to discuss what is 5G technology. And the reason why it is because this is a type of technology that is becoming more and more popular, especially in the last, I will say 2 to 3 years, as internet is improving and also the services provided by internet providers. So we are gonna talk a little bit about that, what it is, what we should be attentive to, and so you have a better understanding about this kind of technology. And so that you are good, just let me know if you can see what I'm showing right now. You
Oh,
should have the
you're good to go, Annie. And again, this is really important for us because we all have our iPads with and that utilizes 5G technology. So some of you may be relying on this technology to attend a Zoom session or utilize the internet when you are out and about or anywhere. So I hope you all enjoy. Thank you so much, Annie.
all right. So wonderful. Let's start with the disclaimer. All right. So just keep in mind that presentations are intended for educational purposes only, and they do not replace independent professional judgment, of course. Statements of fact and opinions expressed are those of the participants individually, and unless stated to the contrary, are not the opinions or positions of cyber seniors. Cyber seniors that not endorse or assumes no responsibility for the information content, precision, and completeness. Keep in mind also that the sessions are audio and video recorded, and many will be published in different media sources, including audio and video format without further notice. Just keep that in mind. So if you don't want to have your camera on, of course, you can turn off your video if you feel more comfortable with that. All right, so to start, this is kind of something you probably know at this point, but the future depends a lot on connectivity, right? The world as we know it at this point is depending really much in technology and also in the connectivity of what technology offers to us. Anything from artificial intelligence and self-driving cars to telemedicine and mixed reality to has yet undreamed technologies, everything we hope will make our lives easier, safer, and healthier requires, of course, high speed, always on internet connections. To keep up with that demand, the mobile industry introduced 5G. I'm assuming at this point, most of you will have some kind of notification or in the status bar of your electronic device, you will see how sometimes it will say 5G, sometimes it will say 6G, LTE, and you will see different denominations of what 5G is. And we are going to take a look at the different technologies related with 5G, which is the fifth generation of wireless networking technology. And in this presentation, we are going to cover the following aspects. So we are going to start with what is exactly 5G, how is 5G different, generations before 5G, 5G advancing areas, 5G impact, the rollout in the United States, what is 5G being used, and statistics, right? So we have a nice view of numbers, add numbers when it comes to what is the impact is having in our modern days. All right, so to start, what is 5G technology? Essentially is the fifth generation mobile network, okay? It enables a new kind of network designed to connect virtually everyone, including machines, objects, and devices. 5G wireless technology is meant to deliver more reliability massive network capacity, and increased availability of the internet connections we use. Has the fifth generation of cellular networks. 5G is a global wireless standard service. All cellular networks send encode data through radio waves. That's why you see the antennas, right, all over the country. And wherever you go, pretty much whether you are in the United States or other countries, you will see a lot of antennas, which is what provides these kind of services to your electronic devices. The radio waves have different frequencies and are divided into something is called bands. How is 5G different? So previous generations like 4G operated on low and mid-band frequencies, meaning they were much slower in comparison to 5G. And essentially what it does is allow you to navigate much faster. So if you pay attention to the image on the screen, you see the turtle and you see the rabbit, right? And that is a comparison between the fastness of the internet connection you will be using when you operate 5G or use 5G. 5G will be a game changer in wireless telecommunications, ushering in a network for future generations with more devices, faster communication. So if you think now is fast, it will be faster than that, and a higher speeds when it comes to internet. 5G will address that through advances in three important areas, which are connectivity, latency, and bandwidth. And if you don't know what this is, we are going to explain a little bit of those in a couple slides more. So just stick with us, bear with me, and don't go anywhere. Okay, so generations before 5G. The first generation of wireless technology, also known as 1G, was pretty much in the space of the 1880s, introduced us to wireless telephones or mobile communications. These phones were only for talking and has almost no capacity to transmit data. So nothing like the connections we see today. They existed alongside other wireless technologies, but these technologies could not connect or talk to each other. So there was not connection as the technology we see today. Okay, so that is 1G. Next one, of course, and following the sequence of numbers, we have second generations, which is 2nd G. That was launched in the early 90s. It saw a better sound quality, better security, and more capacity for our mobile phones. And a present example that I can think of is the way you watch movies. So if you think about in the 90s, the way you stream things or you used to watch movies and TV shows of things of that nature was very different to what we see now. Now the images are more crisp, more clear, right? It seems like you are in front of the actual thing happening on the TV when you are streaming. Services such as email and text messaging came on stream. Consumers started swapping their pagers for mobile phones because they could now send text messages directly to another person, which is something that with 1G wasn't possible. So that's why we have the evolution to 2G. Following, we have 3G. So the networks brought us higher speed transmissions, multimedia access, and global roaming, which is the capacity of using our numbers in a different country other than the one we initially purchased the telephone plan, to say some way. In other words, wireless phones could stay connected in more places and over greater distances, which wasn't possible in the 1G and 2G. 4G, it has introduced new apps and services, has connectivity to the internet, has become faster and cheaper. 4G has allowed us to send data, surf the internet, watch, post, and send videos, listen to live stream music, and also accessing social media platforms and many other applications that now are built into our electronic devices. All right, so let's go to the next one. All right, so these are the advancing areas that we mentioned at the beginning when I showed the table of content. And here we have connectivity, okay? When we talk about connectivity, essentially it refers to the number of devices that can communicate with each other. There are already more than 5 billion devices, making us more connected than ever. Today's devices, smartphones, for example, are mainly used by people communicating with one another. A good example of this is the thermostat for your house or place connected to Wi-Fi so that you can adjust the heat or the air conditioning even when you are not physically in your place. If you were out and you have one smart thermostat, you can tune it on when you are about to get to your place, right? And this is a nice way in which devices can connect between each other. When it comes to latency, it is the response time to how long it takes for one device to send a package of information to one another across the internet or a network. The time it takes between sending and receiving information that is related with latency. And with 4G, latency is about 50 milliseconds. So imagine that, like milliseconds, not even seconds. To understand how fast that is, the average blink of an eye takes about 0.1 to 0.4 seconds. So if we talk about milliseconds, that's pretty much nothing, or 100 to 400 milliseconds. So 5G will reduce how long it takes to send information via wireless transmission to about 1 millisecond or 1,000 of a second. Like it's gonna be extremely fast. In terms of more advancing areas, we have also bandwidth. So for 5G, essentially will allow very high downloading speeds for new applications such as 3D, 360-degree view streaming. The classroom experience, if you are taking classes online, will be transformed, will be more realistic, immersive, and interactive because headsets will be mobile, not plugged into a computer. So you are going to see more and more wireless connections as opposed to USB, as opposed to input or output cables. Those are going to be pretty much reduced. Learning a new language will take place by conversing with fellow students within virtual settings. History will be studied by virtually wandering the streets of ancient civilizations, just by the fact that 5G is going to make this bandwidth much more improved. When we talk about impact, 5G provides faster speeds, greater capacity, better reliability, and lower latency, which are some of the terms we just went over. New applications can take advantage of what 5G has to offer and enable science fiction-like experiences such as self-driving cars, remote surgeries, which is very impressive, factory, and of course, robotic farming. The 5G standard was designed to bring broadband capabilities to the widest possible user base to bridge the gaps of zero coverage in places like rural areas, like outside the city, for instance, or scaling coverage to support massive numbers of users in high density urban locations. So 5G is going to improve the quality of your internet connection, whether you live in a remote place or you live in a congested city. Aside from faster download speeds, lower latency benefits, multiplayer and cloud gaming are going to be more boosted by the responsiveness of these kind of services, and 5G higher capacity for multiple devices to be connected without issues. Like sometimes now, if you are connected to, I don't know, 7 devices, the capacity of your internet will be reduced just by the fact that the internet has not that, doesn't have that much bandwidth, and that is gonna be getting better and better. So you won't have as many glitches or issues when connecting multiple devices to the same internet network. All right, so let's check the rollout. So a mobile network operator has to pay for all the following and more during a 5G rollout before it can even reach customers. So before the 5G service was launched, as you have been using it, and I'm assuming some of you, most of you are using 5G at this point, there were certain things that the internet services providers have to go through in order to get that to happen. Among these, we have spectrum licensing, the physical hardware used in the deployment of the signal of 5G, hiring technicians to install the necessary hardware, testing and retesting the network so it provides what it promises, and deployment fees demanded by regulators in the government. So those are some steps that internet providers have to go through in order to provide a better internet service for you. So that's why sometimes it takes so much time. I believe 5G has been in the United States or has been deployed in the United States for about 3 years now. It just so happened that now it's booming more in comparison to 2023 or 2022. As we saw, multiple factors like testing and regulations must align for 5G technologies to be rolled out instantly. And that's why the service might not be available everywhere as of now. Providers have been building their 5G networks for a few years now, as I just mentioned, and they have adopted different approaches as to how that looked like. So you could have or be contracting services with a spectrum, and that might look different to a person who is hiring or contracting services with AT&T because each provider has a different way to present the 5G option to their users. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So what you might be seeing now as a Spectrum user might not be the same that you might see as a AT&T user. And I included here some of the popular providers within the United States that have been doing this rollout for the past couple of years. Here we have Verizon. It has fixed and mobile 5G all over the United States. So if you are a Verizon user, that's a very good thing for you. AT&T also has mobile, as opposed to fixed 5G in thousands of cities. It's not as the same as Verizon. T-Mobile Sprint is available also in quite 1,000 locations. US Cellular, it has dense coverage and just in some states and less coverage in others. And this also goes related to that permission from the government to be able to roll out in cities they are present as an internet provider. You have Comcast, Xfinity. It was rolled out nationwide in 2022. So if you see that number now, it means they have been trying to roll out their 5G services for about 3 years now, meaning the process has been slow on their end, and it goes related to what I mentioned. It won't look the same for every internet provider. It depends of their capacity to launch this at a big scale, considering the importance of 5G for users. You also have here Starry. It's available in Boston, Denver, LA, New York, DC, and Columbus. Google Fi and Simple Mobile is nationwide, and the coverage is powered by T-Mobile. So those are some of the names we have here, and I believe I have another one here if you did not see yourself in the other services. We have Nextech Wireless. It was launched in 2022 for this particular provider. It's limited to 5G home availability in the Midwest. US Mobile works with all of their plans, so it's present in most of the services they offer. Mint Mobile is available in thousands of cities since 2020. Here we have Cricket Wireless. It began offering 5G services in the late 2020. Visible, it works through Verizon's network. So Verizon, as we saw at the beginning, is the one that is the most complete in this rollout process. We have Dish starting offering the service in 2022. And whenever I say service, it means 5G. Right? This provider has been offering 5G since 2022. Cellcom is available around the country in multiple locations whenever they serve people. All right. So now that we have seen the rollout part for the different places in the United States, we are going to move forward to where is 5G being used as of now. So broadly speaking, 5G is used across 3 primary connected services: enhanced mobile broadband, mission critical communications, and the massive IoT, which is the Internet of Things. A defining capability of 5G is that it is designed for forward compatibility, so to take things to the next level. The ability to flexibly support future services that are unknown as we know today. And I'm using redundant terms here, but I hope that makes sense. All right. So when we talk about the 3 aspects I mentioned, right, enhanced mobile broadband, and this is the one we are going to discuss first. So in addition to making our smartphones better, 5G mobile technology can usher in new immersive experiences such as VR and ER with faster, more uniform data rates, lower latency, meaning the internet is less glitchy, and lower cost per bit, meaning the internet should be less expensive as it was in previous years. Mission critical communications. 5G can enable new services that can transform industries such as or with ultra reliable, available, low latency links like remote control of critical infrastructure, vehicles, and medical procedures. So we mentioned before in a couple of slides, right, self-driving vehicles and also remote surgeries. This is something that is gonna be available with the improvement of 5G services. So that is what is related to mission critical communications, because it allows much more things to be possible as the internet and technology gets better. The massive IoT, remember IoT stands for Internet of Things. And what it means is that seamlessly the devices that before couldn't connect between each other now will be connecting to each other. Has a massive number of embedded sensors in virtual everything through the ability to scale down in data rates, power, and mobility, providing extremely lean and low-cost connectivity solutions. So if you want to make your house much more smart, not only because you like the technology, but also because you want to save costs in electricity, and some of the systems you have in place now make your house more efficient, this 5G will allow that to happen, hopefully. I'm being hopeful about that. And when it comes to stats, as of January 2023, there were 229 commercial 5G networks globally and over 700 5G smartphone models available to users. When we say 5G smartphone models available, it means that some devices, if they are older models, might not be compatible. So if you have an older device, you might not be able to use 5G because there needs to be some sort of compatibility. So in order for you to access this better improved internet. The 2022 Ericsson Mobility Report forecasts 5G subscriptions to reach 4.4 billion globally by the end of 2027, accounting for approximately 48% of the total global mobile subscriptions. And here we have the end, but as I say, I brought a little game for you. So hopefully if you don't have any questions, we can play that game. But before I go into answering questions, just keep in mind that you can learn this lesson with a Cyber Seniors mentor. I know there were a lot of technical terms here in this presentation, so you can reach out the 844-217-3057 and register for a one-on-one phone session. We also have free tech drop-in sessions from 2 to 3 p.m. on Thursdays, meaning if you have questions about 5G or other things related with your electronic devices, you can join us in Zoom and ask questions about how to use your devices better. So now if you have any questions, I will, allow you guys to mute and you can go ahead to ask your questions or type them in the chat. So before we go to the game, or any questions? No questions? All right. All right, so what I will do now, I will use a slideshow to show you some notification icons that you will see in your iPad, sometimes in your electronic devices, to see if you relate them. And these are directly related with connections and the topic we just went over, which is 5G. So let me just go back to my presentation. And feel free to type them in the chat, and also you can mute and let me know what you think that is. So, okay. So I hope that you guys can see that. Okay. So who can tell me what is the meaning of this status icon? So who knows what this is? What is that?
Yeah. Oh, I'm here, Annie. I gotta ask them to unmute. So thank you, Brenda, for raising your hand.
Yes, it indicates your signal.
Yes, it indicates your signal. This is the Wi-Fi signal. It means the device has a Wi-Fi internet connection. All
Yes.
right? Yes. And who knows what it means if this icon has less or more bars? What would that be? So if this icon has less or more bars, would that mean what?
And if you want to answer Annie's question, please raise your hand in Zoom, or you can put it in the chat as well.
Yeah. All right, let me see. Stronger signals. Yes, Harold say stronger signals. That's correct. So if you see this and you have more bars as opposed, here is fully, right? But if it wasn't fully, it means the reception, of course, is less. And the reason why I'm bringing these status icons is because they are directly related with 5G. 5G represents the capacity of your internet to be better. So Wi-Fi will be a good indicator of that, right? If these waves are less, it means you have like a weak connectivity. If you have much more bars, it means your connection is stronger. Every now and then that won't be the case, and you will see just something in red as opposed the color as you see it now in this slideshow. And it just means that you have some sort of connectivity happening, but it's not somehow compatible with your device and it's not working how it should be, okay? So let's go to the next one and see. Okay, we saw Wi-Fi. What do you guys think this is? You can type it in the chat. You can unmute also to let me know. So what is the meaning of this one? Okay, Mary, go ahead. Unmute yourself and let me know.
Annie, we have everyone, they cannot unmute. We have to ask them. So I'm assisting you with that. So Mary.
Okay.
Is it the volume?
It's not the volume. It
No?
seems like the
Okay.
volume, but it's connectivity, but for cellular data signal, right? Okay, so I'm going back up in the next one. So here is Wi-Fi. This is the indicator of Wi-Fi, and I believe Harold says connectivity. That's correct. So here's Wi-Fi, and this is cellular data. So if you use a cell phone, this is the indicator when you are using the cellular data provided with a SIM card. Like the SIM card provides cellular data, and the Wi-Fi is provided by a modem that you have somehow or in a place of your home. So it looks like a box, and that is what provides internet. This is the indicator for internet Wi-Fi. This is the indicator for cellular data through a SIM card. And Harold is correct. Similar to what we just discussed for the Wi-Fi icon, if you have less bars, it means that your connectivity via cellular data is less strong. If you have more bars, it means your connectivity is much more strong and stable. Like the more bars you have, the stable your connection will be. There will be the occasional case in which this won't represent exactly how reliable your connectivity is. And every now and then, if you don't have a good and reliable connectivity, either via Wi-Fi or cellular data, you will have kind of a red type of icon here or color showing up somewhere. Sometimes it will be like a question mark within this part of the icon indicating that is something happening and you cannot connect. Okay, so let's go to the next one and see if you recognize this one. It's also related with connectivity. So you can unmute and Alex can help me with that. Okay, Yvonne and Brenda, I believe they know the answer, Alex.
Okay, we'll hear from Yvonne.
Okay. You are muted, Yvonne. I can only see her like mumble.
Airplane mode. Airplane mode.
Yes.
That means you cannot get internet. If you got that on there, you cannot connect. And
Okay.
that's usually what you
Yep.
put on when you're flying.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we talk about that in module 5 in the control center. So good job, Miss Yvonne.
Wonderful. So it seems like Alex is doing a very good job trying this. I will elaborate a little bit on that. So airplane mode regularly is used when you are in an aircraft. Normally the pilot will say, please put your devices in airplane mode so that doesn't interfere with the whole operation of the aircraft. But airplane mode, what it does is shut down certain connectivity functions in your device. So when you are in airplane mode, not only you cannot connect to the internet, also your notifications and anything that requires internet will be shut down. So for example, at night, when I go to bed, I use airplane mode to shut down my notification, meaning nothing will arrive when I'm sleeping because my device is in airplane mode. So notifications from apps and stuff of that nature would be shut down. Also, and I don't know if you guys know, probably Alex had mentioned another point, but I just going to refresh this. If you use airplane mode when your device is not charged, you can connect it to the electricity. And because the functions are shut down, being in airplane mode would allow you to charge the device much faster as when the airplane mode is not disabled. So airplane mode would allow your device to charge in a faster way as when it's not. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. But you just won't be connected to the internet, or you won't get any notifications. So, it's really important to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. So it just in the case that you don't want to receive notifications. So if you are trying to focus on doing something, you can use the airplane mode just to shut down notifications and some of the connectivity functions your device will use otherwise. Okay. So what about this one right here? You can see that one, right, Alex?
Yes.
I was just making sure. I can see it in my iPad. I just want to make sure everybody can see it. Okay. Anybody? Any takers with this one? Any takers with this one? Pi generation. Yes. Harold is on the money today, man. Okay, yes. 1 second. So yes, if you see this in your status bar, it means that your device is compatible with 5G. Essentially, your carrier's 5G network is available for you and support the electronic device model that you use. Okay? It could not be available in all countries or regions, but if you see that, it means you are able to enjoy the multiple benefits of having a 5G connection or 5th generation connection. Okay, so here we have the other ones, and these are just different ways you will see the 5G connection showing up on the status bar sometimes. So we saw 5G. So if you see it like that, amazing. But also there are different denominations of 5G. And it will depend of the type of provider that is providing the internet, the place you are in, right? Whether it's faster or not. And as you see, you have 5G plus, 5G EUC, 5G EUW, 5G-E. All the versions after the 5G, it means they are even faster than the actual 5G. These are just dependencies of 5G. I hope that I'm making sense when I say that. So you will see all this kind, depending of the provider offering the internet service, but it's essentially the capacity to navigate much faster, easier, without that much glitch on the network you could be using, right? So soon as your device is compatible, you will see some modifications or dependencies of 5G. All right, what about this one? Has anybody seen this one before? LTE? I'm waiting for Harold's response.
You can all raise your hand or use the chat.
Yeah.
Have you seen LTE before?
Miss Yvonne is the only one I can see here. So she's raised the hand. I'm assuming she has seen that before. Is that right? You muted, so you can unmute.
Oh, she didn't raise her hand in Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't see that. So, Miss Yvonne, you've seen LTE before?
Yeah, I see it on my cell phone. I think it means light or limited. It's not as strong.
There you are. You have said
Mhm.
exactly. So LTE is just a different 5G. Sometimes depending of the, as I say, the area you are in, the device you use, you will see different denominations of the connection your device use. This means that your device is using either a Wi-Fi or cellular model, or in tablets, most likely will be Wi-Fi, in mobile will be cellular model or cellular data, right? And essentially, it means the device is connected to over the internet. It doesn't mean nothing bad, except for the fact that when you see LTE, your connection is gonna be as fast as when you see 5G, right? And it also depends of the country you are and the region you are. So you might be in the States and you suddenly, say for example, South America, right? They have a different internet system there. So you no longer will be seeing 5G, but 4G there, or maybe LTE. And it depends of the area you are in the country, because even though you could also have a compatible device, it doesn't mean that you always are gonna be offered 5G, because not all the places you visit have that system available for you. I'm hoping that my explanation is not too confusing. All right, what about these ones? 3G and 4G. Go ahead, Miss Brenda, unmute yourself and let me know.
Third generation and fourth generation.
Yes, so that also will show up in the status bar. And what it means is essentially what we just went over. So we have 5G, and we are kind of going in recession, right? 5G being the strong after, if we go backward, 5G, LTE, 4G, 3G, right? And depending where you are, obviously your connection will be better or slow. And just pay attention next time you are in a place and you see 3G or 4G, you will see how the device navigate either faster or slower based on whether you are using 5G or 4G or 3G or LTE. Am I making sense when I say this? Like, are you guys able to associate with some of the things I'm saying? I hope that you do.
Yeah, just give any thumbs up in Zoom with the reactions if everything is just making sense.
Yeah. I'm sure now, now that you have seen this, you will say, oh, that's what she was talking about. And if you go outside your home, for example, and you are taking reception from different antennas around your place or in public, you will see how that 5G indicator will change, right? Based on what internet connection you have available. I believe somebody raised their hand, Alex, is that
Oh,
right?
yeah, they put it down. They meant to give you a thumbs up. So
Okay, wonderful.
we had a couple of thumbs up in the chat.
Okay, so I'm gonna continue because I believe I had 3 more, and after I will be wrap up. I just decided to brought this so you have, an understanding of connections since we've been talking about 5G, and I hope that you guys like the dynamic. All right. So what do you guys think this is? And this is also something that you will be seeing in your status bar every once in a while.
That's a good one, Annie.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes. Anybody? Any takers?
You may see it when you expand your control center on your iPads.
Yeah.
You may see that icon. So what does that
Yes.
icon represent?
Harold said, is that link bar kind of, but not kind of.
I know what you mean by that, Mr. Harold.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
It essentially we can say technically yes, but if we want to talk about the exact name, this means or indicate personal hotspot connection. What this means is that the device is connected to the internet through the personal hotspot or of another device. An example of that will be, say that you have your cell phone that has internet, right? And you want to give your cell phone internet when you are outside your home because you want to use mobile data. So if you are connecting your tablet to the internet via your cell phone, this is the indicator you will see in your status bar. So if you pay attention, it's very different to the other status bar when it comes to connection. And it's because it's indicating that two devices are connected between each other. Normally, you won't connect the devices to between each other. You will use antennas or the radio waves to catch up internet and also cellular data, right? But in this particular case, you are connecting, or you could be connecting, your cell phone with your computer or your cell phone with your tablet. So that is personal hotspot connection, and that is what it means.
Yeah. It also means you're connected to someone else's personal hotspot. So if someone allows you to use their personal hotspot when you're out and about, maybe with a laptop, I do it quite a bit. I use my cell phone's hotspot to connect to the internet on my laptop through my cell phone's hotspot. So it's quite a useful feature.
It is very useful. Okay, all right. So who has seen this one before?
You did a session on it, right?
Yes, I did.
Well, not you. I think Macaulay did that.
I think I did. I have mentioned it before. I
Mhm.
remember. Miss Brenda, go ahead. Unmute.
Very private network.
Yeah, virtual private network. But good job, Miss Brenda. But definitely very private network. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
you.
This is a good thing to have in mind when it comes to connections, and I'm gonna say why. Because you use sometimes your device to connect and browse so much on the internet, you don't know what is on the internet at times. And this is a good way to make sure that your connections are protected, or whatever you look online is protected, or your information is encrypted, so you are not identified online when you're navigating. So in your device, when you have a virtual private network securing your connections or your browsing, you will see this VPN. It means that it's functioning and you can navigate securely, or much more comfortable as opposed if you don't see that VPN. The thing with this VPN is that it's one of those services that you need to pay like extra. You will have, free versions of it. And if you have found one that works for you, wonderful. But normally this is kind of a extra service. I decided to point it here just for the fact that if you have been using now, this is a good way to protect your navigation online. You are not going to be identified if you are using a virtual VPN, because your information is kind of blocked before it reach out to the public World Wide Web. All right.
Mhm.
What about this one? Let's see.
That's a good one too, Annie. I like these different icons because they do
Yeah.
come up. They do come up on the iPad and
Yeah.
phone, and even a lot of other devices too.
Yes, they do.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, Mr. Harold got it in the chat, I think.
Yes, he did. Yes, and this is the exact name. Is navigation or location. When you see this particular arrow in this way with this color, I don't know if you guys have used your cell phones before. So for example, me, I'm a person who gets lost quite easy, and I need my cell phone to tell me exactly where I am. And sometimes if I'm in a different country, I have used my cell phone to get to places that I don't know. And it means turn-by-turn directions. Mean your device will give you a step-by-step directions on how to reach to places, whether that is in your car or walking, and it will show you like a pin in a map indicating where you are and the points that you are. And whenever you see this icon, it means your location step by step is being used. So you are somehow being guided by your device when this is on. All right. I mean, we
Like
have
with
done,
the Maps app, you know,
yeah,
if you have the Maps app on your iPad, they'll
Yeah.
come up. If you use the weather app, it will come up. If you even are in like the Uber Eats app, it will come up. Anytime your iPad is using your location to get you relevant results or for directions, that will come up at the top right corner on your iPads when you are using those different location-based apps as well.
yeah. All right. And all right, what about this one? So remember, we have this one. Let's see the color. We have the different color in this. So we said that this one is when you are receiving internet from another device. Say, for example, your mobile is giving internet to your tablet. So what do you think this one is? It's very similar.
I think
just-
I mentioned the answer actually. So,
Okay,
but what do you all think? Again, you can raise your hand and Zoom or use the chat.
yeah. So what do we think about this one?
The color is a dead giveaway.
Yeah. Hotspot to another side, that's correct. Yes. So in the previous one, you were the one receiving, right? In this one, the link is connected. Good. You are the one giving, right? When you see this one, if you are the one giving internet, this is what you should see. If you are the one receiving, the other one is the one you will see. So color sometimes, and oftentimes actually, will be the indicator of the action you are doing. So pay attention to colors. Pay attention when it's green, when it's blue, right? When it has some different color as opposed to white and the regular gray that some icons show, because it will indicate the connection or the action the function is doing. All right, let's go to the last one. And I think that would be, okay, I have actually one more. What about this one?
That's also a really good one. You don't
It
think
should be.
you don't think about it specifically, but yeah.
Yeah, Miss Brenda, you know the answer?
Is it the icon when you're going to a site and it's buffering?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Yes. So we can say when it's buffering, also when it's downloading or connecting, that is correct.
Right.
Essentially, what this means is network activity. So a network activity can be, as Miss Brenda said, buffering, and it can be downloading, or it can be connecting, or it can be the page trying to get the results that you want. So whenever you see that, I guess the bottom line is you don't get desperate. This is happening. It's just the connection needs to get there in order for you to get your results. This is directly related with 5G because it determines how fast that resource is getting to you. So when you see this, and back in the days, it used to be like a sun clock. I'm not sure I'm saying the term correctly, but back in the days, it used to show one of those suns clock, and essentially it indicates how fast the results are getting. So that's where you see that wheel. So if you see that wheel, something is happening. The device is not froze. It just, there is a network activity happening, whether that is buffering or downloading or connecting. Also, occasionally, it will indicate that some third-party application use this icon to show the activity in the application, right? So when apps are updating or apps are processing a request, Hourglass, yes, that is the name. So before it used to be an Hourglass icon, now is this one to represent network activity or the network action, right? And that can that can look different whether you are browsing on the internet or using an application. If you see this, it means an action is being processed. And depending, of course, of the internet you have, it could be either faster or it could be slower. Okay, and let's go to the last one. So I'm going back to the other that was location services. So this is navigation turn-by-turn directions, and this is the other one. And pay attention to the color also. Okay, any guesses for this one? Miss Brenda? Miss Brenda and Mr. Harold today just
Uh,
took over.
Is that the pointer that you use when you're
In the map,
navigating?
yes. So
Okay.
the biggest difference with these two, and I'm going back to this one. So when you see this one, it means that you are receiving a step-by-step directions from your device. So device is telling you where to go, where to turn. It's a right, it's a left. Your device is telling you a step-by-step where to go. However, if you see this one, it doesn't indicate that you are receiving a step-by-step direction. It just means that your device is somehow using location services. And that could look different. It could be the map using location services, but it could also be Siri using location to find something on the internet. It could be that you are using Google Chrome. So Google Chrome find results based on the locations you are. So when you see this, no matter where you see it, it means that the location is being used in different services in your device. And that could be a page on the internet, and that could be an application. So for example, the calendar will use location services when you are booking an appointment, just in case you need to go out. And that is what it means. All right, so I think that has brought us to the end. I hope that you guys enjoyed today. I tried to make it a little bit more, engaging, so you have a better understanding of connections and some of the things involved in connection and that latency and reliability that we have. I cannot say that word correctly, so I apologize for that, but I hope you enjoy. All right, that's everything on me today.
Well, thank you so much, Annie. I definitely learned a lot, and especially going over those different icons. They may be small on the screen, but they do mean, some is very important. So I think it's just important when you're on your devices, you're looking at the whole screen to just see all the different icons and buttons that you can press, and now you're more informed on those specific things as well. So. Thank you so much, Annie. Does anybody have any last questions for Annie about anything that she went over today? You can raise your hand. You can also use the chat. But while we wait to see if you have any questions, any closing remarks for today, Annie?
No, I will say that pay attention now when you go to places, right? Whether it's your home or if you go to a restaurant, perhaps, or the senior center or the places you visit, and pay attention to the notification bar to see what kind of connection you get, and you will see the difference, because sometimes you will get 5G or LTE or 4G, and now you will say, okay, I know what that means. I have a faster or a slower connection because of this. Depending of the providers that is offering that to you as well. Yeah, that's that's all I have to say. I think I talk a lot today, like an hour of talking.
Oh, well, thank you, Annie. We have a question from Miss Helen.
Yeah, go ahead, Miss
Yes,
Ellen.
earlier you said that there was a telephone number that we could call. Could you give that number again?
Yeah, I'm gonna type it in the chat, and I'm gonna.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So the
Yeah.
number is 844. In case you want to write it down, Miss Helen, I also type it in the chat. So 844-217-3057.
All right, thank you.
No problem. And for everybody, just keep in mind that if you want to ask questions about your devices, I know Alex is wonderful at, keeping you up to date. And, I cannot say thank you enough to Alex for his wonderful work. But if you always or have more questions, you can always come to our tech drop-in. It's on Thursdays at 2 p.m. and you can come with your questions. We also have people that are not necessarily from this program, from other places, and you can also talk to them and get to know more people. So if you want that and you like to be in Zoom, you are welcome to come to our drop-in sessions on Thursdays.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Annie. I really look forward to next month's presentation, well, every month, but thank you for being such a joy and for presenting the information in a fun and engaging manner. Mr. Edward, did you have something really quick before we end?
Yes, I do. I receive a separate email from Cyber Seniors, which tells me what's going on in their program.
Right.
And
Yes,
I
you
was asking
do.
Annie, did everyone from Tech receive that email? I receive it regularly.
Mr.
No,
Edward, you were in our FY21 group, so that's when cyber seniors were doing the training. That's probably why you are receiving those emails. But if you want to receive, or if anyone else wants to receive those emails, you can go to Cyber Seniors website and subscribe to their newsletter as well.
it's very easy. All you need to
Yes.
put is your email and you will
Yeah.
know what is happening every week.
Yes, because they offer a lot of different things and people may find it interesting, you
Mhm.
know, with the other classes that they offer.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
all you need to go is just go up to the website, and at the end of the website it says, do you want to subscribe for a newsletter, like a weekly newsletter? And at the bottom it will
Thank you.
have like a box to type in your email, and that's all you need to do. No need to fill out a form or things like that. All you need is an email that is working, type it in there and send it over, and that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins, for
Yeah.
that as well. Yeah.
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 Okay,
So
so I will let you go, guys, now, and thank you for having me, Alex. I will probably send, like, I have an idea for the session on, I think we have April, but for the session on May, and see what you guys think of that one.
oh, yes, thank you so much, Annie. Let's all thank Annie for doing such a great job, and let's wish her a great rest of her day.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Wonderful
Have
session,
a good
Annie.
Thank
Thank you very
day.
you.
much.
Have a
Bye.
great
Take
day,
care,
Annie.
guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
I'll be
Take
sent
care.
back. It's over.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. Have a good
All
day.
right now.
Bye.
They said
Have a
back
good
to get
one.
over.
Okay, thank you. And thank you all so much for coming on. So at this point, we will be doing our poll. So please make sure you stay on Zoom to complete the poll to let us know how you felt about today's session. So again, let's make sure we're all in Zoom. And I'm going to go ahead and start the poll. And it's only a few questions long, okay? But thank you all so much for attending today's session.